Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm Rose Pankunas, founder and CEO of Sudozi. Every Friday, we talk with a strategic finance leader, and today we have our guest, Brett Bowman, here. Welcome, Brett.
Hello, how are you, Rose?
Good, good. So Brett and I actually met earlier this week, and we had a chat hosted by the CFO Leadership Council on wealth creation and planning. And the genesis of this conversation was talking through, CFOs, what topics they care about. So much of your time is spent thinking about company resource allocation. Where are the budgets at? What team's spending more, spending less? And we actually sometimes procrastinate on our own planning. And so we're excited to bring you this conversation with Brett, expert in both corporate CFO as well as personal CFO. So I'll turn it over to you, Brett. We'd love to hear a little bit about your background.
Awesome, thanks, Rose. Just briefly, I've been a CFO multiple times here in Austin, Dallas, some other places. I'm 30 plus years of experience. I'll just stop there so you can't guess exactly how old I am. But needless to say, I've been around the block a few times. Numerous companies, from the largest of large to the smallest of small. At one point, I was employee 7 at a startup. My first job showing up that day on day 1 was figuring out how to get trash cycled to the apartment or to the office. So I've also been at companies in 50 plus countries and hundreds of thousands of people. I've seen it all, or it feels like I have, and have a few stripes that I hope to share with you today. Most recently, I just left a company as a cybersecurity CFO of Securonix. Was there about 2.5 years, and we were acquired by Vista Private Equity in April. Prior to that, another exit through a company called Main Street Hub via an acquisition by GoDaddy. So a couple of good ones, but they all weren't great. I hope to share some of those stories with you today. But great to be here, Rose.
Awesome. Well, thanks. Excited to dive into some of the details. And so one of the, what better place to start than talk about starting financial planning? So most of the people here probably have something in a spreadsheet with different accounts, both investment as well as just general daily operations, credit card, et cetera. Where would you advise, or where did you start thinking about that next level of planning for you and the family?
Yeah, probably a couple of things come to mind. First, just a motto I live by: it's never too early to start, and it's never too late to start. So no matter where you are on your financial journey, there's a place to jump in, ride, accelerate, you name it. But for me, it really started early. It started, as a child, earning money and passbook savings, and the concept of paying yourself and tracking. And so it was kind of crazy. The first and most complex instrument I had in high school was a certificate of deposit, and had several of those. So I was being introduced to rudimentary elements that would give you accelerated rates of return. And that really, kind of piqued my interest and grew. I had others that mentored me along the way. When I was 21, I had a great person that introduced me to IRA and the concepts of compound investing. And, that's gone, if I fast forward 30 plus years, it's gone into some pretty complex instruments, more K1s every year than I can count on my fingers. So it's good, but it's a journey. So, start somewhere, be inquisitive, learn. If you don't know, get out there and find someone to help you, find a personal friend or mentor, but leave here and do something to accelerate that.
Yeah, it's a great, first of all, great stories, and also a great transition to the next topic, which is financial advisors. I know there's a spectrum of opportunities out there where people will maybe just talk to you or manage all of your money, right? Maybe if you could share your understanding of the spectrum of opportunities in any major categories, and how people think about what's best for them.
Sure. Yeah, there are, at the entry level, there are folks that you just know at the bank, or that you set up your accounts with. You can call into customer service. That's kind of your entry level. Kind of on the very front end of beginning that development. There are advisors that are take a piece of the portfolio. There are others that are fee-based, and there are others that get very complex, where you've got lawyers involved and estate planning and things like that. So it's truly a continuum. But again, you have to. Well, to me, you should start somewhere. If you think you know it all, and someone has a full-time job that does this, and this is all they do, like, we're probably sadly mistaken. And I've learned the hard way by making some mistakes early on that cost me a lot of money when I didn't have a lot of money. And I wish I had had more advice sooner. As of late, my last financial advisor, and to be honest, I've cycled through a lot of them. So to give you a funny story, at one point I took about all of my liquid net wealth, and I split it in two. And I gave a financial advisor half, and I took half. And I gambled with him that if he, beat me by more than 10% at the end of a year, he could have all of my assets. And he got ahead, and he got behind, and he got ahead and behind. But
1 year, you gave him 1 year.
That's right. And to be honest, he ended ahead, but not significantly. But that doesn't mean I don't believe in them, because what they did do, in my last journey, is they forced me to be more conservative than I naturally am in business. They forced me to have conversations with my spouse and partner separately to make sure we're aligned on what are our goals and resources. And again, if you invested conservatively over the last year versus aggressively, you're probably net way ahead. So fortunately, I had some good advice there that was age or risk-based advice for someone like me.
Yeah, that's something that you just mentioned I want to go back on. And so someone actually helped you and your wife go through this process of thinking about your planning individually and then coming together in a conversation to sort of compare notes. Is that right?
It is, and I've explained this to a few friends. I felt like I was on the dating game, and I was going to miss her favorite color or flower or get the wrong answer because we hadn't talked about it. What you think your spouse of 30 plus years or your partner, and until you sit down and have those conversations of, when do we want to retire? Is money everything? How does it combine with stress? It's big company security and benefits versus some type of explosive or life-changing wealth event at a smaller company. And if you just don't talk about those things, you normally just don't make time for them. So it was a great structure to force us to get better aligned as a family.
Yeah, I think that's a great takeaway, that you don't have to have an advisor to now you're the advisor, you're the digital advisor, that everyone should, if you have a partner, go do those parallel prioritizations and then talk about that list.
That's right.
All right, awesome. So moving on to sort of the legal side of the house. So now that you have, maybe an advisor or two, you have some assets, you have a couple different types of brokerage or other accounts set up. Share with the audience, your perspective of trusts and what they are and how they can help with planning and wealth creation and maintenance.
Yeah, and I'll even give you an example. Today, I saw an email come across, and it's like, you initiated a wire transfer, and I'm like, what? I did? Like, what was I doing? And then I remembered, like, I actually just set up another account, a sister account, for some of my cash investments, where I'm picking up another 1 point of interest. It's just a higher yielding account, and I am moving money today just to pick up a point of interest over what I was earning on cash. So there's an example. But on the trust side, so thinking about trust, it's going to take money. You're going to have to get some advice. If you don't know what a SLAT, a GRAT, a 678, a beneficiary defective inheritor trust, UTMA, UGMA, Uniform Gift of Minors Act, like, if you don't know what all those tools are, like, go learn, like, figure it out. You can either, begin on your own, but to execute these type of agreements, you're going to have to pay an estate planning attorney typically. And that could be thousands of dollars to get those kicked off. Why does it matter? It matters. Trust are best, where family trust or any of the others that I talked about, they're best around generation skipping and preservation of wealth as you pass across generations. Sometimes it's liability and legal protections. Other times it's really the generational skipping wealth. as an example, most folks, they hear a big number. Let's pick a number. This year, it's about 12.06 million. And that's how much you can transition from an individual to their heirs effectively tax-free in gifts. That's a lifetime of gifts. So if you began early, that you began giving your kids, that is a summation of a lifetime of gifts that you can give today. That number used to be, I think it was in 2010, it was $1 million.
$1 million? Yeah.
In 2025, I think it sunsets back to $5 million. And while it sounds like a lot of money, and you keep rolling the dice on some of these startups or in your journey, and hopefully you're going to create wealth and you're going to hang on to that, not blow it, and you're going to grow it. And with the politics, you never know what those rates are going to be. But like, if you don't want to be taxed twice, if you want more efficiency in getting your assets in the future to your to the next generation, you're going to have to engage some of those tools and techniques.
Yeah. I don't know any finance person that doesn't like efficiency. So
I did the math on an earning and a 37% tax rate, and a 13.3% in California, then up to 40% in an inheritance or a death tax. Your heirs aren't left.
Getting up there. Yeah.
It is.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit and bring us back to today. And while you're still creating wealth and thinking through some of these technical things, right? Like exercising options, joining a company, whether it's earlier stage, later stage, 409A, taxes, employment agreement. And so maybe we don't mind sharing some of your thinkings on an earlier stage company and a later stage company, and maybe some technical tips learned the hard way.
Yeah, all of those are, man, I just say yes, 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 and yes to think about all of them. Let's just start with like lessons learned. Like I've lost a lot of money by being emotionally challenged by a startup venture capitalist who basically said, Brett, you've got nothing committed to this company. And I'm saying it in a nice tone. It wasn't a nice tone. You're not invested. You don't have money on the line. Investors, you're just here working for a salary and bonus. And, my emotion got the best of me. And I said, I'll show you. I'll take, 6+ figures of money, and I'll go buy preferred stock and I'll double down. Now I'm committed. And, year and a half later, I'm burning all of that equity in a campfire in West Texas. And I physically did that to remind me that all of that paper is worth nothing unless you make it worth something. So this concept of just diversity of where you invest, man, I'm a big fan. When I just exited my last company, folks asked me, tons of executives rolled over and invested in the new company. I cashed out, and they're like, that's crazy. You don't believe. And I was like, no, I do believe, but your salary is there, your bonus is there, your new equity is there. Why would you take cash right back in the same single entity it's either successful or it's not? I'm like, go buy G stock, go buy an S&P 500, but important around just diversity of where you invest. That on the employment agreement side, employment agreements, if you're at the level where you can negotiate one, my thoughts are they never matter until they matter. And having all of that in writing and understanding, man, are there buyback provisions? Do I have early exercise rights? 83B election can be a strong tax advantageous. Qualified small business stock exemption, that is huge if you're very early in the organization. The assets are under 50 million and you hold it 5 years. Like huge if you can do that. So but employment agreements, man, they can be really strong and protect you when things don't go well, or when you're ready to leave and you want to take some of that equity with you. You may not be able to, based on the structure of the plan, unless you get that all in writing up front. So very, very important on that side for sure.
Yeah, and I think what level or job number were you when you started having sort of paying a lawyer to actually review your employment agreements?
Yeah, to be honest, I did not have my first employment agreement until I was a CFO.
Yeah.
And even as a multi-times as a CFO, there were times where I thought, you know what, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
I've got
I think that's what
friends
people
in the
think.
business, and I'll
Yeah.
have Jim or Bobby or whoever, so review it, and it's you need to, and even you need to pay someone if you're serious, and it's a significant amount of equity. You need to pay someone. Um, and even then, you need to be personally diligent. I've seen things they've missed. I've seen things I missed, and
Hmm.
you don't know it until it happens, or you see someone
Yeah.
that it happens to, and you go, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Writing those notes down and thinking about those things of where things just don't go as planned.
Absolutely. All right. So we got diversification. Don't invest all your money and any debt into the same company. And then also be the owner of your employment agreement, but also get legal advice to supplement your own ownership of it.
That's
Amazing. Okay. Before we wrap up here, we didn't really talk about your career as a CFO today, but if you could share sort of one thing earlier in your career, whether it's on the personal planning side or on the professional side, that in hindsight you would have spent more time on, what would that be?
Boy, in hindsight, man, I could say a lot of things on the personal wealth side, which is what we're talking about today. But let me just take it up one level. I don't think I was inquisitive enough. I don't think I challenged myself enough to learn. I just got busy in my daily life. When I was done, I wanted to go do family and fun and other stuff. And there's this commitment you can make to yourself to be inquisitive and to learn, whatever that is. That can be personal
Mm-hmm.
finance. That can be more. Today we're talking about personal finance. I wish I had done even more. Today, literally, I talked to a friend of mine, chief people officer at another company, and we created a book club. So we have agreed to read a book together. And this one happens to be
Awesome.
on the human element of deception and like cyber criminal type behavior, which is a company that we came out of. But like the farther I've gone in life, the more I wish I had challenged myself sooner, and having
Mm.
accountability partners sometimes to help you do that. But really could have pushed me farther and faster had I spent more time there.
Well, thanks for that. I think that'll inspire some people to really think a little bit outside of their immediate task list, to think about and then how it connects back, right? It actually makes you a richer finance leader and anything else you're trying to achieve. Okay, last thing, fun fact about Brett, and we'll wrap up this Friday session.
All right. Sorry, I had to grab something off the shelf. So let's see. Fun fact. Boy, it could be jumping out of airplanes, travel, crazy stuff, Desert Storm, Somalia, Oman, some other fun places. But I'll leave it, since it's close to Super Bowl Sunday. I will let you know that my oldest daughter, she danced here for the Texas Pom team, and went on. She's a commercial real estate agent in Dallas, and also a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. So
Awesome.
I like to make wealth, keep my wealth, and grow my wealth. That's probably going to all the games is probably one of the biggest detractors of my wealth this year. The amount of going to all the games and spend on the travel. So fun fact about me, if you look on the field on Sunday and the sidelines for the Cowboys, you'll see my daughter.
Amazing. Well, definitely we'll look for that, and maybe we'll have her image of her and the team as a follow-up post here too.
Let's do it. Go
All
Cowboys.
right. All right. Thank you, Brett. Have a good one. Really appreciate your
Awesome.
time
Thank you,
today.
Rose. Thanks all.